Deputy President David Mabuza. So as I was saying, a steady stream today of high-profile political activists and politicians visiting the home, and that flurry of activity outside the Madikizela-Mandela home continues. And that's where we find eNCA's Erin Bates. So just bring us up to speed with who has visited Erin in the past couple of hours. You'll also tell me about a procession that you witnessed a little earlier.
Yes, Jeremy, a cacophony of music here from the Shembe Church just minutes ago, passing by after going into the home of Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. Very somber drum sounding out repeatedly, and a trumpet as well. We saw their International Minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, also Musia Lekgota, coming to pay his last respects to the struggle stalwart today.
And Erin, as we've said time and time again, not only is this about politicians paying their respects, but it's also about ordinary people taking the time to go to Soweto, and particularly those who knew her from days gone by. You're going to tell me now that you had an opportunity to talk to someone who knew Winnie Madikizela-Mandela way back in the 1950s. Pick up the story for me.
That's what's been so interesting about being here today, Jeremy, is hearing from different people who'd met Winnie Madikizela-Mandela throughout her long 81 years. I spoke to Mr. Mayet, who told me that he insured her car in the 1950s in Johannesburg and retained a relationship, a friendship with her throughout her life, him coming here very smartly dressed to pay his last respects and also sign that book of condolence. He told me about the car that she drove back in the 1950s and how she would make her way to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, where she was working as a social worker. He described her as someone who is very respectful, who couldn't say no to people in need, and spoke very warmly of knowing Winnie Madikizela-Mandela in her early days in Johannesburg, having moved here from Bizana in the Eastern Cape at her father's recommendation to come and study social work at the Jan Hofmeyer School of Social Work at only 18 years old. And in fact, 2 years earlier, when she completed what was then the junior certificate, the equivalent to our Standard 8, she'd done exceptionally well. She was a very strong, academically minded student, and that carried through into her studies in the city in the 1950s.
The rain is falling in Soweto. Erin Bates, thank you very much for talking to us.